Hey everyone, it's Nick with Us versus Herd. Thanks so much for watching this channel. This channel is growing faster than I could have ever imagined. If it's your first time here, please hit the subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, hit that bell button so you get alerts when we post videos. We post a video every day at 3:30, whether we go live or we posting just a video like this on the weekends. But today, what I want to talk about is getting out of debt. Americans are more in debt, especially millennials, young people are in more debt than ever before. And getting out of debt, I realized getting out of debt is the new American dream. I mean, it used to be buying a house. It used to be, taking care of your family. And back in like the 1950s, or 60s even, the one person could be working and supporting a family of four and have enough money for a house, have enough money for a car. And in this day and age, it's so easy to get credit. Like, people send you applications. Hey, you've been pre-approved for $5,000. You've been pre-approved for $2,500. And you're like, hey, I don't really make that much money. Sounds great. Let me get this credit card, and all my problems will go away. And people use debt and credit to especially millennials, to make them feel good. I feel is, hey, I'm not feeling good today. Let's go shopping. Okay, I don't have any money. I don't feel good about myself. Let's go in debt. But they don't. They get the immediate gratification of buying something that makes them feel better. But then later they get the bill and say, oh man, I got to pay this. I don't have the money. And then it kind of, the sentiment is just that. The gratification up front, and then they have to pay it back, and then they get back down into the lulls and they go back out shopping again. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the way that the U.S. economy works and the way that the big corporations are marketing are targeting people like this to stay in debt, and that way so you keep paying them forever. Now, I know this video is kind of different than my normal videos. This video is more of a rant, and this video's not really about trading or anything like that, but I felt the need that there's a lot of people that are young, a lot of people that want to do well. They want to buy a house. They want to grow. Their job's not paying enough money, and that's why it's important to have side hustles. Like, you've probably found out that it's hard to make money or enough money to live. Especially, like, I live in the Chicago area. It's difficult to make enough money. There's a lot of people competing for jobs. Real estate, rent. Everything's expenses. Our sales tax is expensive. Liquor tax is expensive. I mean, some areas here we're paying 12% sales tax, to buy something at the mall. We're paying, when we go out to eat, we're paying 11% when we buy food or alcohol. I mean, it's expensive to live, and wages haven't been growing. And this day and age, when you're in debt, you're making payments to the bank. You're not really realizing this, but when you're holding a balance on your credit card, or if you're holding a balance on anything, you're in debt and you're making interest payments. Depending on how big of a loan that you're paying to somebody, or how much you're in debt, it depends on the interest payment and what your interest rate is. So even if you're paying like the minimal amount on your credit card, you're like, hey, I'm making my payments, it's going down. It's going to take you forever to pay it off. It doesn't matter if you have $2,000 in credit, $10,000, $100,000, and it's going to take you forever. You're pretty much just paying Capital One, Discover, Chase, or whoever, till for the next 8 years on that, or longer if you keep making the minimum payments, depending on your interest rate. It's going to take you forever to pay off, and you're just giving them free money every month. It may be costing you $50 a month, maybe costing you $200 a month. That's cash flow out of your pocket, and that's how you stay in debt. And college is super expensive. A lot of people are walking out of their colleges carrying huge baggage of loans. Our parents, they didn't do a great job saving. I know there's a lot of people out there that maybe got an inheritance and stuff like that, but for the masses, I would say our parents didn't do a good job handling money. They didn't teach me anything about money. My parents didn't teach me anything about money. I had to learn everything on my own. I made a lot of mistakes. I've owed a lot of people money. I've done it all, and it doesn't feel good owing people money. And even if you say, hey, I don't have any credit cards. Do you have a college debt? Do you have a car payment? Do you have a mortgage? You owe somebody something, and most likely you do, because most people our age or younger or older, even in their 40s, even they've been paying off student loans for the last 15 years. They don't have the money to buy a house. And to buy a house, it requires a lot of capital up front. You got to have, unless you have like an FHA loan, you got to have 10, 20% saved up. And then there's a lot of costs involved. There's, you know, once you buy a home, it's different from rent. You got to buy water. You got to buy, you know, there's trash. Some places have trash. Luckily, I don't have that. Electricity, which when you rent, you don't have that. And the other thing is taxes go up. You have to make sure you have enough money, so then your mortgage and your taxes change. And also, right when you get a mortgage, most of that money is not going towards your principal. You're saying, hey, I'm paying all this money, but most of that's going to your interest. You know, so most times you're paying double interest versus how much principal you're paying down every month. You know, and that's, you know, that's not a win-win for you. Yeah, they say, you know, the mortgage is the best product and say like that, but honestly, going in debt for anything is not a good thing. You know, I'll tell you a quick story. I was actually, quite a few years ago, I was buying a car. I thought I was pretty prepared. I had 25% down payment. I was walking in there with a loan. I felt confident. I knew what I wanted. I was going to go get it, and, you know, got through the car salesman thing. That's good. But then when you sit down with the accounting guy, the guy that like puts the numbers together, crunches them with you, gets the contract out. I forget his name, but anyways, you know, I felt confident. Like, okay, I'm walking in here with a loan. I'm not going to have them push me around. I know what I want. You know, I had a great interest rate walking in, and the guy was basically another salesman, but for the banks. And what he wanted to do was get me to spend more money or more interest. And he was using all these different kind of sales tactics to try to confuse me. It was a long, lengthy process. He was trying to tire me out. I mean, we started the process at like 8 p.m. and it was going on 11 p.m. and luckily, you know, he gave out. But what was happening was, you know, I had a loan in my pocket. I knew what I wanted. I knew how much I was already agreed to pay. I had cash ready to be deposited for this, or put a down payment on this car. And he's like, okay, well, let me check the numbers. And I told him many times I already had a loan. I don't need to go that way. I don't need to go through you if I don't want to, but hey, I'll check out your deals. I'll see what you got. And he's like, okay, well, we have a 72-month payment here at 19%. And I was like, well, why would I do that? And he was using all these tactics to try to confuse me. He was trying to get me to not use a loan that I brought in and to use his, because also he gets paid. Also, if I were to take something at 19%, which is just crazy, for 6 years, which is absolutely crazy. Like my loan I had for 5 years at around 3%. I mean, there was no competition. There was no way this was going to happen. And for some reason in his mind, he felt that he needed to persuade me to take this other loan. And I don't know if maybe he thought that I wasn't that smart, or if he thought that he could trick me or tire me out, or whatever the case is. But, you know, we weren't talking pennies here. We were talking about thousands of dollars that would be in interest. I mean, we're not talking, you know, if you did the math, it was going to be an incredible amount. When you go from 3% interest to 19% interest over 6 years versus 5 years, you know, you're talking crazy amounts of money. So in this day and age, you really need to protect your cash. You know, everyone's trying to take it. Everyone wants to put you in debt. They want you to enslave you to this debt. And right now, getting out of debt is the new American dream, I feel, because our generation is all in the same boat where we had to do certain things. We had to take on debt load. Our parents didn't give us any money. Our grandparents didn't give us any money, or whatever the case is. You know, there's really no excuse, but you can get through this. You can get out of debt. You can make payments. You can, you know, you're going to have to work your tail off. Don't let 10 years go by and you're still making the same payments on your credit card. Don't let 5 years go by. Don't even let 1 year go by. You know, if you got an Uber, Lyft, get a bartending job after school, after work. I mean, whatever the case is, you got to do whatever it takes, because when you're in debt and you're making those payments, you're taking away money from your future. You're not able to invest that money. You're not able to put that money in else. You're not able to, you know, make a down payment on a house. So, you know, this was more of a rant. I just wanted to talk to you real quick, something that was on my heart. A lot of people that I talked to are going through this, but I just wanted to encourage you. You can get through this. You can get out of debt. You're just going to have to push a little bit harder.